One of the biggest difficulties I had when I started producing was finding a good guitar sound like the ones I heard in my favorite records. Over the years, I've tried so many plugins and differences in my guitar chain to get that crisp, clean, sparkly sound. Today I'm going to be taking through my full guitar chain, going through every plugin in detail to show you guys how I get from a dry, dead guitar signal to one that's crisp and professional. Stay tuned all the way to the end of the video to make sure you get all the gems, tips and tricks to make your guitar sound studio quality. Alright, here we are in a session in which I've got 4 guitars all playing over each other. Let's check this out. You might recognize this melody. Alright, so let's just solo out one of these tracks so it's a bit more clear what's going on. So without any effects, it sounds like this. So very dead, of course. Now, the first thing I'm going into is a tuner. Always make sure your guitar is in tune before you do anything else. The first main effect I'm hitting is Guitar Rig 5, and the only thing that's on Guitar Rig 5 is the gain booster. I really like this effect. I use it a lot. It's always on. It basically just boosts your volume gain before hitting whatever amps you're going through. Here there's also an auto filter, which sometimes I use. A/B with the gain booster. Just a little bit more volume and saturation. The next thing I'm going into is a chorus. Now I'm using this Native Instruments choral chorus. Again, this is an effect which sometimes is on, sometimes is off. 50-50, just depending on what I'm making. A/B with the chorus. Then I'm hitting my amp simulation. Now 90% of the time I'm using the Kuasa Match Lock. For its price, I think it's the best amp sim you can get. I think it's around 30 or 40 US dollars, but they often have discounts on, so you can go to the site and check it out. It's got a very organic sound, kind of emulates like a Fender Tweed amp. You've got loads of cab options, mic options. So obviously that's making the main difference. Now the next effect in the chain is the Shep's Omni-channel, which I've talked about before on my channel. This is usually off, but when I'm feeling I need a bit more EQ or a bit more compression or whatever, I go ahead and switch that on. Then I'm hitting Ableton's EQ8. Quite a dramatic curve here, boosting the lows and the highs. I have it default set to this curve here because I do a lot of videos for Instagram. When you're making something that's going to come through the phone, it's a good idea to boost the lows because obviously on your phone you're not hearing a lot of low frequencies. When it's mixed with other instruments like this track, I would normally lower these lows and maybe take off this low pass here. It'll probably look something like that. I'm often looking for the sparkly high frequencies in the guitar. Then I'm hitting a compressor to just even everything out. Now my favorite compressor to use recently is the R-Comp from Waves. I'm sure you can use any other compressor, even the default Ableton compressor is perfectly fine for this use. Very nice sound, very bright. I'm just looking to lower the volume of any notes that I accented too much in my picking. After that, I'm hitting the Valhalla Supermassive. In this particular case, I have a lot of reverb because it's a very ambient guitar. But you know, usually my mix will be around 5 to 10%. Very nice. After the reverb, I'm hitting a delay, and I'm using the Replica delay by Native Instruments. Again, any delay would work, but I really love the Replica interface. In this particular case, I'm actually not using a delay, but I'll show you what it would sound like with a standard quarter note delay. And finally, I've got this really dope plugin in here called the Fresh Air, which I've been loving. I got it quite recently actually. And it's basically like a highs booster kind of thing, boosts the high frequencies, but in a very atmospheric way. I wouldn't know how to describe it. It's just adding a lot of life to the recording. Now you may have noticed there's a bit of hiss in my guitars. If that's annoying you, I recommend trying this default. It's actually just a setting of the multiband dynamic plugin on Ableton called Reduce Ambience. It does help, especially in conjunction with the fresh air, because while the ambience remover kind of lowers those sparkly high frequencies, you can kind of get them back with the fresh air after. So let's do an A-B of my whole chain. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching the video. I hope you learned something new from this one. Don't forget to subscribe, like, share, all the good stuff, and I'll catch you next time.